This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman and Riley Smith. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is June 1st, 2022. Hard to believe that we're already almost halfway through the year. We're so glad you can join us today. In today's show, we have coverage from last Friday's Governor's Charity Steer Show opening ceremony. We also have a look at the ag weather outlook, but first, let's take a look at that ag market recap.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, the markets are coming to the close for today, and it's time to take a look at how those numbers ended up. And for that, we go to Jim McCormick of agmarket.net. Jim, how are we doing today?
Well, it was a very volatile day today, to say the least. The corn and wheat market came under quite a bit of pressure today, while the bean market shook off that negativity and ended up closing a little bit higher on the day. The market really was dry. There's two things that are driving the market right now, in our opinion. The first one is the story out of the Ukraine. There's still a lot of hope and optimism in the market that Putin will allow some of this grain, specifically corn and wheat that's been backed up in the ports, out of those ports as they open some free grain trade regions of the ports. We're not very optimistic that's actually going to happen, because the reality is what Putin said before that is he will let that grain out, but he's got a quid pro quo. He wants the United States as well as the rest of the world to reduce sanctions to allow that grain to move. So we do not think that's going to happen, but the market right now is trying to trade a little bit optimistic it would. And no doubt about it, if that grain would come to market, it would relieve some of the world food stress we're seeing. But like I said, we don't anticipate that to happen. If we get news that we're going to get that quid pro quo, look for the market to rebound quite a bit. The other thing we're seeing is, planting progress in the corn did come in pretty much back to the 5-year average. So that put a little bit of pressure on it. Although the Dakotas, specifically North Dakota, continues to struggle to get the crop in. So in the long run, we think we will lose some acres due to prevent plant.
Right. And we talked about this morning, but with the North, it's been one thing after another, and it feels like it just keeps on coming. Are they going to have a window up here to really get stuff done, or are they kind of having to just take what they can get at this point?
There is a window. There's a little bit drier forecast right now, but the problem you've got is they've had so much rain over the weekend that it's going to take multiple days to essentially dry down. The weather is really not cooperating. In the fact it's really kind of cooler than normal for the next week as well. And we're also past their prevented plant date. So each day that they are not planting, they got to knock 1 percentage point off of whatever insurance level they got. So you're essentially just going to get to the point where we believe that they're just going to say, well, it's not worth the economic hassle as well as the yield drag we're going to see to go ahead and plant that corn crop, which means they'll probably move to prevent plant or beans. With this in mind, we're thinking you could see up to 1 million, maybe 1.5 million acres of prevent plant when it's all said and done.
And are there any other outer market forces that are acting on the markets today?
Well, right now, what we're also just kind of keep an eye on is the overall fear of the cost of living right now. If you look at the energy markets, they all are under pretty good strength today. Crude oil's backed off a little bit right now, but the heating oil, as well as, i.e. the diesel market, as well as the unleaded gas, continue to go higher. As those markets continue to go higher, it does make it more and more expensive for people to buy food, which does have a little bit negative drag on the market. The cattle market definitely, and the hog market had a very good day today. Cattle market gained back most of yesterday's losses. The hog market kind of surged even despite the higher energy costs, as they are, we're seeing some bids catch due to the cheaper feed costs.
Yeah, and then with those big jumps, I think I saw earlier that I think it was feeder cattle had about a $3 jump. Is a lot of that due to cheaper feed costs, or is that some of that from demand factoring in, especially with grilling season?
Well, I think part of it is the grilling season right now. What you're seeing is the consumers are out there spending. There's no doubt about it, folks. The cost of living is much more expensive, but there is one study out of one big bank that suggested that said, consumers that had roughly $1,000 and maybe $2,000 in their savings account pre-pandemic, it's estimated they have as much as $5,000 in their account consumers had roughly around $2,500 to $5,000 in their bank account before the pandemic. Due to savings and cash infusions, it's as much as $15,000. So even though we are seeing higher food costs, they are weathering the higher costs a little bit better than what people might expect. So that's going to keep the demand, hopefully, for pork and beef there. And there's no doubt about it. As for the feeders, when you see the corn market down as hard as it's been the last couple of days, that tends to support the feeder cattle market.
Right. As we've seen plenty of times in the past, when the consumer wants meat, regardless of other costs around it, they're going to go get it.
Well, there's no doubt about it. The other thing we got to remember what we're doing, we've kind of seen a very weird change in our habits as a consumers right now. When the pandemic started, people quit going out to eat. People quit doing things. They quit living life in essence. They pretty much watch streaming videos. They watch, the different movie channels and streaming channels out there. Well, now that we're 2 years past the pandemic, a lot of people right now want to experience life. They don't, so they want to go out and do things. They want to go on vacation. If you look at airlines are saying their flights are 85 to 90% full. So people are going out on vacation despite the higher cost of food, despite the higher cost of energy, as they're trying to spend some of that saved money. And that should hopefully dribble down to the cattle and hog market, as people tend to go out to eat. And so when they go out to eat, they tend to, order steak, hopefully.
All right, well, lots of great information today, Jim. For those of our listeners and our watchers who would like to learn more and maybe talk some market strategy, how can they get in touch with you folks at agmarket.net?
You can reach me directly at 815-665-0461. You can reach any of the Ag Market team members at 844-424-6758, or go to agmarket.net to sign up for some of our research.
All right, thanks a bunch, Jim. It is great talking to you as always, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you for having me on.
That again was Jim McCormick of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn is down 22 1/4 at 731 1/4. December corn down 20 even at 691 1/2. July soybeans up 7 even at 1690 1/4. November soybeans up 5 3/4 at 1515 1/4. Soybean meal down 330 at 407.10. Soybean oil up 36 cents at 76.74. Chicago wheat down 46 1/4 at 1041 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 55 even at 1192 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 37 1/4 at 1128 1/4. And July oats down 23 1/4 at 646 1/2. On the Merc, June live cattle up 227 at 132.80. August feeder cattle up 460 at 169.72. June lean hogs up $1.82 at 109.80. June pork cutout up $1.92 at 114.02, and Class 3 milk down 9 cents at 24.48. And that's been a check of the ag market recap. Right now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, if you went outside this morning, you would have noticed it was a little brisk as you went out the door, as temperatures were in the upper 50s to lower 60s, and you can see why as the cloud cover kind of persisted throughout the day, but we're obviously now getting more towards that 70-degree range, and then tomorrow and the day after, we'll see temperatures much more in the 80-degree range. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see here from the National Weather Service, the wonderful spring weather will continue. Today, clouds will give way throughout the day with temps ranging from 68 to 73. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms. Lows overnight should range from 45 to 51. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies across the state. Highs will range from 74 to 77. Looking at the affiliate weather map right now, as you can see for tomorrow, Cherokee will be sunny with a high of 76. Shenandoah also looking to be sunny with a high around 77. Des Moines sunny as well and a high of 77. Albia sunny and 74. Waterloo sunny and 76. And Clinton, big surprise, will be sunny with a high of 75. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure you check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of first the Ag Market Recap and the Ag Weather Outlook. Right now, we're going to take a break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we're going to have coverage from last Friday's opening ceremony for the Governor's Charity Steer Show as they kicked off their fundraising efforts for the year. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Well, the Governor's Charity Steer Show kicked off its fundraising efforts last Friday, and we were out there to cover that event. They talked about this year, the expectations they have for the 40th anniversary, and some of the goals they have set for fundraising efforts.
Well, thank you everybody for coming out today. We're here in front of the beautiful Ronald McDonald House in Des Moines to kind of do a kickoff for a really exciting event this summer at the Iowa State Fair. 40 years of the Iowa Governor's Charity Steer Show. 40 years. That's more than I've been around for, but I am thrilled to be here doing this. My name's Tanner Lawton. I'm co-chair of the event with Casey Anderson with the Iowa Beef Industry Council and the Iowa Cattlemen Association, and excited to be able to have the rest of the people that we have here today to talk about the importance of this event. I was listening to a podcast on the way down because that's what I do when I drive around. And I think one of the things that really hit me with this podcast is togetherness. There's been a lot of crazy things happen over the last couple of years. And one thing that we've always maintained and been able to do with the Iowa Governor's Charity Steer Show is to maintain that togetherness, that Iowa nice, that beef cattle and all the producers that raise them, we're going to back our neighbors, we're going to back our friends. And that's what the Ronald McDonald House is all about. Being there for people in need in a time of need. And over the last 40 years, we've raised $4.5 million. Unreal. Hard to believe. And this year, for the 40th anniversary, we want to break another mark. We want to raise $400,000 for the 40th. I'm going to introduce Matt Deppy, CEO of the Iowa Cattlemen Association. He's going to give a little bit of history about the event.
Well, folks, the event, Tanner already, first of all, Matt Deppy with the Iowa Cattlemen Association, and truly pleased to be here at this opportunity to kick the steer show off this year, but just as importantly, like Tanner expressed, 40 years. Now, I am older than 40 years old, so certainly can remember 1983 when this show started, in a partnership between cattlemen across the state of Iowa, the governor's office, and a very important charity to all of us, and that would be the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Iowa and the Houses of Iowa that take care of families like we do as cattlemen at home, both at our family table but in our communities as well. So certainly when we look at history and we think about those folks like Mark Pearson, like other celebrities that have participated in this, like the businesses that have contributed both to the pomp and circumstance, so to speak, at the Iowa State Fair with this very prestigious public event, and express cattlemen care, agriculture cares for others, as well as very an important Iowa nice, like Tanner said, concept of, we're here for each other as Iowans. And so certainly impressed and excited about the 40th year. Tanner just talked about that goal in terms of fundraising, and certainly if others are watching this, listening to this, we certainly hope that you take some opportunities to get involved as we go forward with the 40th annual Governor's Charity Steer Show. We've got quite a few on the agenda today to talk about their experiences, but also look forward to this year in 2022. One that was not able to be with us was that founder of the Governor's Charity Steer Show, and that would be Ambassador Branstad, who was governor in Iowa in 1983 when that show started. And so I'd like to read, before we move on in the program here, a statement that he sent as we were conversing. He really wanted to be here, but I'll just go ahead and read that. I continue to be amazed by the generosity of Iowans when it comes to supporting the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Iowa. It's been 40 years since I teamed up with the Iowa Beef Industry Council and the Iowa Cattlemen Association to organize the first Governor's Charity Steer Show. To know this event has raised more than $4.5 million to support more than 50,000 families in need means so much to me. Let's make the Governor's Charity Steer Show the best yet. Help us meet our fundraising goal of $400,000 in 2022 for the 40th anniversary. Together, we can make a difference. So that was a direct statement from Ambassador Branstad, who again was the governor of Iowa and basically one of the founders of the Governor's Charity Steer Show. At this point, you can see behind me, we've got quite a few, and this is a big partnership. So let's make that known. They're involved with this program that's very Iowa nice. And at this point, I'd like to introduce our current governor, Governor Kim Reynolds, to make a few words in relationship to the kickoff and the Governor's Charity Steer Show. Governor Reynolds?
Thank you. Thanks, Matt. And I want to thank you all for being here for the kickoff event of the Charity Steer Show as it looks to break records on its 40th anniversary. I too want to thank the Iowa Cattlemen Association, the Iowa Beef Industry Council, as well as the Ronald McDonald House for making this annual state fair tradition possible. You know, as we celebrate Beef Month, I'm also so grateful for our world-class cattle producers for helping it become what it is today. None of this would happen without their involvement. I too want to acknowledge Ambassador Branstad for his role in starting the Celebrity Steer Show. We loved the healthy competition when I was Lieutenant Governor. I was able to beat him when he was governor. My Lieutenant Governor was able to beat me one time when I was governor. But that's part of the fun and the excitement, I think, that brings Iowans to the state fair and to participate in the Celebrity Steer Show. So we're really appreciative of Ambassador Branstad's commitment to that. You know, the mission for the Ronald McDonald Houses is keeping families together when they have to travel for their children's medical care, and that's just about as good as it gets. They provide stability and comfort in really trying times for families. And the houses, as you've heard, in Des Moines and Iowa City and Sioux City, together have provided services for more than 50,000 families across the United States. And I'm proud to also reiterate the amount of funds that have been raised to support their efforts, $4.5 million, as you've heard. And I think it really emphasizes the emphasis on family is what makes it a perfect match with the Celebrity Steer Show. What I love, and as I said, generations of families, they make this event part of their annual visit to the Iowa State Fair. Countless kids have spent their summer preparing for the chance to show that steer, to have the opportunity to get in the ring with the celebrity and really showcase all of their hard work. And so it's been a real pleasure as a governor to keep the show moving forward and growing each year. You know, we didn't let COVID or derecho stop us. So we're going to build on that and continue to accelerate the progress. So let's celebrate the accomplishments of the last 4 years, but continue to look forward as we look to set new records for the Ronald McDonald Houses. So thanks for being here. Thanks for helping us get the word out on the importance of this event. And I look forward to some competition. I was already, challenging our great Secretary of Ag. So bring it on, Secretary of Ag. We're ready to compete and raise some funds for our Ronald McDonald Houses and the great things that they do for families in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Reynolds. And I talked about partnership when I introduced the governor, and certainly this partnership is very strong, and that partnership includes the 4 Ronald McDonald house locations in the state. And so right now I'd like to ask Brenda Miller, who is the Ronald McDonald House exec here in central Iowa, to talk about the importance of the steer show and this great program to their charity, to their houses.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And again, I'm Brenda Miller. I'm the executive director here at the Des Moines Ronald McDonald House. I can't tell you how thrilled I am that we're the ones that get to kick off this wonderful event. Not that we're a little competitive, no. But first of all, on behalf of the 3 Ronald McDonald House chapters in Iowa, we have Sioux City with us today, and also Iowa City, as well as Central Iowa here in Des Moines. And we couldn't be more grateful for the state of Iowa and everyone that comes together to put this event together. Not only, of course, the financial aspect that really helps us perpetuate our mission and helping families throughout the state and across the world, actually. We're just thrilled, but also the awareness that this event brings. And our former families have a way of giving back. When they leave, many times how can we help? You did so much for us, we want to help you. many of our families that come from the rural areas, and they're able to raise their steers, show their steers, or help those families and support them in their county that is supporting the Ronald McDonald House chapters. 40 years is fabulous. We just celebrated 40 years in Des Moines, Iowa last year. So we've been receiving support through the Cattlemen and the Beef Industry Council on this event for many years. I've been involved in it for 23 now, and I can't tell you the changes and the growth and the enthusiasm that has come through it through the state of Iowa to be a part of this. And we're just truly grateful, and it's very important to the Ronald McDonald Houses overall and to the families that we support. Thank you for being here today, and I hope you all come out and see the show. It's the first Saturday of the State Fair in the Pavilion, and we'll look for everyone to be there. Thank you.
So the governor talked about competition, and I believe possibly the Ronald McDonald House execs will be in that competition this year. So we're really excited about that, and I know they're excited too, possibly. Maybe they didn't know that just yet. Next, I'm going to introduce one of our staff members at the Iowa Cattle and Beef Industry Headquarters, and her name is Casey Anderson. She works for the Iowa Beef Industry Council, and she's got a little bit more on how folks can get involved, the date of the event, those types of things working forward. So, Casey?
Well, thank you everyone for coming today. We couldn't be more ecstatic to gather here today on a great day here in Iowa to celebrate the accomplishments and the folks that have helped us get to where we are here today preparing for the 40th anniversary show. But in reality, the work is really just getting started. We have youth exhibitors preparing steers at home that are vying for one of those potential 25 spots. And as we look forward to August, we invite everyone to partake in the event. As you heard prior, our goal this year is $400,000 for the 40th anniversary. And it's going to take all hands on deck to reach that goal, but we're confident that we can do so with everyone's help. So if you're interested in supporting the cause or learning more about this year's event, we invite you to visit iowagovernorscharitysteershow.com for more information. With that, we can't think of a better way to end May Beef Month than celebrating, gathering together around the table to enjoy a ribeye steak sandwich prepared by the Madison and Polk County Cattlemen. So please, everyone join us, gather around the table, and let's send May Beef Month out the right way by celebrating Iowa's great beef producers and the great beef that they work so hard to produce. Thank you.
And those are all of the opening comments from last Friday's event. Of course, the Governor Charity Steer Show. And, a great event every year, helps a lot of kids and a lot of families around the state and around the nation. And that is it for today's episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can find our video content and previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget our free Twice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Avery Haskell and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.